So, Commander is a game where the absolutely craziest things can happen. And what is crazier than being able to win on turn 0? That's right, you haven't even taken a turn. You have done absolutely nothing, and yet you win. And your opponents haven't done anything either. You just start the game off and, well, you win. So how in the world does this happen, and why are you seeing Rograkh on the screen? Well, blame Eddie first in the comments below, and then let's jump into it to find out. So yeah, on this episode, I'm going to go through multiple ways that you can win on turn 0 before, well, you take your turn or even your opponents even take their turns. And the first of these combos involve Rograkh, son of Rohgahh, better known as Rogg, as the commander. This adorable kobold warrior is a simple 0-1 that, yes, has First Strike, Menace, and Trample, as well as Partner, which will come in very handy. But the main thing that we care about with this commander is that it costs 0 mana, which is quite incredible, especially when we want to get it out on, well, turn 0. Now, you inherently can't just get your commander out on turn 0 because, well, it's not your turn. It's an opponent's turn, and they barely just started it. And please correct me below in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but rule slayers out there help me out. I believe, and thank you, Eddie, for researching this, but the first time that you could actually do any kind of interaction on your opponent's turn is, I believe, upkeep. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's the first time I believe that you have priority, then you can react. Regardless, of course, this combo is not on your turn, or well, it'd be a turn 1 win and not a turn 0 win, which is, of course, much, much harder to pull off. Now, as I mentioned, well, the most important thing is that Rogg does cost 0 mana, but it is also important that Rogg has Partner, because, well, we might need access to another color to help us out with this combo. Now, when it comes to the partner for Rogg, well, you can go in a couple of different ways. The main thing is your commander does need blue in its color identity. So maybe you want to pick Essior, Ward Wing Familiar, for whatever reason. I mean, you can, sure. I mean, spells your opponents cast that target one or more commanders you control cost 3 more to cast. Basically, Ward 3 for this in Rogg. Cool. Your opponents probably won't be casting anything to stop you, though, because, well, they don't have any mana to do so. So, unless they've got some 0 mana shenanigans going on, you're good to go. Or you could go for Silas Wren's Secret Adept, which of course has blue and black in its color identity, so yeah, I mean, tutor pieces for combos definitely can be a thing as well. But another potential commander for the job as the partner might be Thrasios Triton Hero to give you access to green, which is nice, and we'll talk about a card at some point in this episode that also gives you access to. But of course, on top of that, Thrasios is a fantastic activated ability. Pay 4, scry 1, then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put on the battlefield, tapped, otherwise draw a card. So essentially an infinite mana sink, and yeah, there are combos where you can generate infinite mana on turn 0, so have fun just, drawing your entire deck, getting every single land you control into play. I mean, you don't need those to win, but yeah, definitely possible with a combo, yes, even on turn 0. Regardless, when it comes to this turn 0 combo, like I mentioned, the only important thing is that your commander that is partnered with Rogg has blue in its color identity. You need access to blue. So pick whichever commander you want, and let's move on. And the reason we need access to blue is because of Leyline of Anticipation, which is a fantastic card, and again, like I mentioned, you can't just cast Rogg on your opponent's turns unless you have something like Leyline in play. Leyline of Anticipation is an enchantment for 2 blue, but you're not going to pay that because with this turn 0 combo, well, we have it in our opening hand, of course. And as long as it's in our opening hand, we can begin the game with it on the battlefield. So it's just right there. It's on the battlefield. Cool. And it also says you may cast spells as though they had flash. So essentially, Vidalcan Orrery, yeah, we are playing this game now at instant speed. We can play on our opponent's turns, which of course is pretty much a prerequisite to be able to do, a combo on their turn. We have to be able to play on their turn to combo. So yeah, with this specific combo around Rogg, that is definitely why it is needed for us to have, access to blue so that we can utilize Leyline of Anticipation in our opening hand to be able to play at flash speed. So to start our combo off with Leyline of Anticipation in play, we very simply are going to cast our commander for free at the first opportunity that we have. And again, I believe that would be our opponents, whoever's, first turn it is, the first player of the game that gets to start. They go to upkeep and we're like, wait a minute. You see I've got that Leyline in play. I'd like to flash in my commander, Rogg. And then your opponents might be a little confused, and yeah, deservedly so. But yep, you cast Rogg, that's what you do first. And then from there, you're going to utilize Simian Spirit Guide in your hand, which says, exile it from your hand, add red. I mean, it is a 2/2 spirit for 2 in red, but we don't care about that. We just care about getting a single mana from this by just, utilizing it right then and there. It is gone. We have a red mana. Awesome. Now you might be thinking, how in the world can we win with just a single red mana in our commander on turn 0? Well, we're going to be getting even more mana because we're going to be casting Infernal Plunge, which is a sorcery, but again, Leyline of Anticipation says, yeah, you can play at flash speed, so basically this is an instant now, just for a single red. Cool, so we can utilize Simian Spirit Guide's mana for that. We sacrifice a creature additional cost to cast this spell, so, sorry, Commander Rogg, you've done your job for now. I'm sacrificing you because I need to add red to my mana pool. So, at the cost of utilizing the Simian Spirit Guide as well as our commander, which of course we're going to head back to the command zone, we get 3 mana. But of course, that will not be enough for us. Because next up, we're going to be casting Jeska's Will, a sorcery. Again, we can cast at flash speed thanks to Leyline. That costs 2 in a red, and it says choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. Well, Rogg just was here, but now has gone bye-bye back to the command zone, so we don't get both, but we get the more important one of these two, and I'll let you guess which one that is. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand, or exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. Make your decision now. If you guessed A, which I guess I should have labeled them A and B, yeah, if you guessed the mana, you're right. Now, it really doesn't matter which opponent we choose because this is turn 0. They're all going to have a full grip of cards. So, yeah, we pick an opponent and we add 7 red mana to our mana pool. So we went from, well, 0 mana to 1 mana with the Spirit Guide to 3 mana with the Infernal Plunge, losing our commander, and then to 7 mana with Jeska's Will. Now we are cooking, and now we can really get this combo going. Because next up again, thanks to Leyline, we're going to be casting Cloudstone Curio at flash speed. It's an artifact for 3 that says, whenever a non-artifact permanent comes into play under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it to its owner's hand. So this does cost us 3 mana. We are down from 7 mana down to 4, but I promise that Cloudstone Curio is going to be well worth that 3 mana. And to see why, well, let's talk about the next part of our combo. Which is, oh, hey, it's Rogg again. Yeah, we've seen Rogg before. Rogg went back to the command zone. Now, unfortunately, still has the mana value of 0, but with commander tax cost 2, of course, we can spare that 2 mana for our commander. So, we are down from 4 mana down to 2 mana. Our commander is back in play. And of course, since we don't have a target for that Cloudstone Curio trigger, since we have no other creatures in play, well, we don't utilize that. But next up, another piece of our combo is going to be one of Rogg's buddies with Kobolds of Care Keep. And yeah, I mean, very simply, this is basically like a worse Rogg. I mean, Rogg, right, has First Strike, Menace, Trample, and Partner, and is a legendary creature, whereas this one is just a 0/1 for 0. That's a red creature. That's it. But for this combo, this is perfect. And of course, because this costs us 0 mana, well, obviously, it takes up none of our remaining mana, which we will need, and we'll get to that here in a second, but yeah, just remember we've got 2 mana left still. So upon casting Kobolds of Care Keep, well, we are going to get that Cloudstone Curio trigger. which of course again says whenever a non-artifact permanent, which is a creature, comes into play under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it, a creature, to its owner's hand. So, Kobolds of Carekeep enter, we bounce Rograkh back to our hand, and then Rograkh, still costs 0, because yeah, we're not casting from the command zone, we're casting from our hand, its mana value is 0, we cast it for free. So then Rograkh enters the battlefield, we bounce Kobolds of Carekeep back to our hand, and then we cast it for 0, bouncing Rograkh back. Then we do, you see where this is going. We just keep bouncing them as many times as we want. Again, on turn 0, before anyone else has done anything, we are literally casting our commander in Kobolds of Carekeep as many times as we want. Let's just say, well, okay, usually I'd say an infinite amount, but technically in Magic, you gotta pick a number, so let's just say a trillion, okay? Anyways, we've done this a trillion times, before our opponents have done absolutely anything, and, now what? Well, with our remaining 2 mana left, we will put our opponents out of their misery and cast Grape Shot, which again is a sorcery, but thanks to Leyline of Anticipation, well, flash speed, basically an instant. Regardless, Grape Shot costs us 1 in a red, so again, our remaining 2 mana, and it's going to deal 1 damage to any target, but of course, on top of that, it has Storm. So whenever you cast this spell, copied for each spell cast before it this turn, you may choose targets for the copies. Again, we cast, like a trillion spells, essentially. We cast our kobolds and, our commander again and again and again and again. And, yeah, we get a trillion copies of this. So, of course, we've got enough damage to take out our opponents that are all at 40 life apiece. I mean, in fact, we only needed 120 damage in total, right? But yeah, I mean, they're all taken out, and that is one way for us to win on turn 0. Now, of course, on top of this, there are some other cards to consider, and there are other cards that work within this same combo, and there's another combo I'm going to bring up too. First up, one card to consider is, well, Serum Powder. Obviously, you need a lot of different moving pieces to actually make a combo like this work, and the chances of getting it are incredibly low. But a card like Serum Powder in a combo deck can definitely help you, at least a little bit when it comes to mulliganing, trying to get that combo. It's an artifact that costs 3 and it can tap red colors, and it says anytime you could mulligan and Serum Powder is in your hand, you may exile all the cards from your hand, then draw that many cards. Again, is it likely that this is going to happen? A turn 0 combo? No. But is it fun? Well, at least fun for the right group, and it's also fun to think about. Anyways, yeah, Serum Powder can definitely be a way to help. Next up, though, a card that works in that exact same combo is Impact Tremors. All you gotta do is switch this out for Grape Shot, and it basically works in the exact same way, except you don't have to cast your, commander and Kobolds of Carekeep an infinite number of times. It's much less. Anyways, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. So essentially, yeah, I mean, get Cloudstone Curio down, get this down, then just, get your commander down, get Kobolds down, and just keep, bouncing them again and again and again. And yeah, I mean, until your opponents are burninated to the ground with Impact Tremors. So it would take, what, 40 times? Yep. Another card that is swappable in that combo, that essentially these all are the exact same thing basically, but yeah, Crimson Kobolds and Crookshank Kobolds can of course take the place of that Kobolds of Carekeep. Because, well, again, they are literally the exact same thing. 0/1 Kobold that costs 0. That's all they are, that's all that matters, and again, with the combo you can cast them essentially an infinite number of times. So, of course, if you are building this kind of a deck, yeah, redundancy in a combo is very important. Another direction that you could go with a combo like this is to actually change out some of the pieces, maybe with something like, a Birgi God of Storytelling, to take this combo in a different direction. Birgi says whenever you cast a spell, add red. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. So, essentially, you'd be taking the combo in a different direction instead of taking your opponents out again with something like an Impact Tremors. Well, you could kind of utilize the other creature in the combo outside of Rograkh with something like, a Voldaren Epicure to win from there. Voldaren Epicure is a 1/1 vampire that has when enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you create a blood token. Now, that blood token is nice. Of course, the more important part, though, is that 1 damage to each opponent. And so, yeah, essentially, when you're casting Rograkh and Voldaren Epicure again and again and again, you are generating mana. I mean, Voldaren Epicure essentially, pays for itself thanks to Birgi, And yeah, you're just basically generating free mana with Rog. Regardless, with Voldaren Epicure's trigger, you could dish out enough damage to take out your opponents. I mean, you can dish out infinite damage, essentially. So yeah, there are different variations on this combo, but now let's move on to another one. And this combo might be even crazier, and we're starting things off with Simian Spirit Guide and its friend Elvish Spirit Guide, which is basically the exact same thing but in green. So whereas we can exile Simian Spirit Guide from our hand to add red, we can do the exact same thing for Elvish Spirit Guide, but we're going to be adding green. So again, before our opponents are doing anything at all, we are 2 cards down, but we have 2 mana. And with this 2 mana, we're going to be casting the fantastic Manamorphose, which is an instant for 1 and a Gruul, so either, that green or red mana will work for that, does not matter. Anyways, add 2 mana in any combination of colors, so we're going to be getting some mana back, and also draw a card. Essentially, all this is doing is filtering our mana for us, and drawing its initial card to essentially replace itself, but yeah, basically we say, hey, we had a red and a green, now what do we want? And what we actually want is a red and a black mana. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, it does not matter what your commander is for this combo, except your commander does have to have, well, at least 4 of the colors. So yeah, I mean, any 5-color commander will work for this. Regardless, what are we going to do with that red and black mana that we are floating? Well, first up, we're going to be casting Dark Ritual with that black mana to make more black mana. It's an instant for a black that's going to add black, black, black to our mana pool. So we went from red-green to red-black to now red, black, black, black. So we've got 1 red mana and 3 black mana, and now what? Well, surprise, surprise, we're going to turn that into even more mana because now we're going to be casting Seething Song with 3 of that mana. It's an instant for 2 and a red, so yeah, I mean, we're going to have 1 black left over, and it's going to add red, 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 red to our mana pool, so yeah, 5 red added. So, after doing all of this, we now have 5 red mana and 1 black mana, and now what do we do? Well, this time the answer is not add more mana to our mana pool because we are done with that. What we are going to do, though, is cast Demonic Consultation. It is a very, very old spell from Ice Age that I'm sure was not intended to be used this way, but here we go. It's an instant for a black that says choose a card name. Exile the top 6 cards of your library and then reveal cards from the top of your library to reveal a card with the chosen name. Put that card in your hand and exile all other cards revealed this way. You see, here's the thing. We're not going to name a card that's in our deck. We can literally name anything. It does not matter what it is. A Tog. That's not in our deck, okay? So therefore, we can't find that card, and when we do that, well, we just lose our entire library for a single black mana at instant speed. So by casting this, our library is gone, and we are left again with just 5 red mana, and 2 cards left in our hand now. And one of those cards, and the one that we're going to use our 5 mana on, is with Through the Breach. It's an instant arcane that has Splice on Arcane, but we're not going to be utilizing that. Anyways, it costs 4 and a red, and it says, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. Now, we are not going to be getting to our next end step, and yeah, having haste with this creature does not matter in the slightest. What does matter is what we can do with that creature just by getting it into play. And of course, that creature is none other than Thassa's Oracle, which, well, is an incredibly deadly combo card, especially in combination with Demonic Consultation, and yeah, you can even pull this off on turn 0. And without, Flash Hulk used to be the way to be able to do this, but Flash is now banned, so this is the way that you could do it. And actually, I'm sure there are plenty of other ways you can do it, but yeah, this is one of them. Anyways, yeah, Thassa's Oracle is a 1/3 Merfolk Wizard that costs blue, and it says, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library or X your devotion of blue, put up to 1 of them on the top of your library, the rest bomb your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. Now, obviously, with just this in play, our devotion to blue is 2, and yeah, again, with Demonic Consultation, we got rid of our entire library, so 2 is going to be enough to win. So this ETB goes off, we win the game, and again, we can pull all of this off on turn 0 before our opponents can do absolutely anything. Now again, how likely is it to get these turn 0 combos? Well, not likely, at all, but it's still possible, 100%. Is it fun to come up with these different kinds of combos? Absolutely. Should you try to pull it off? Well, first up, you need to ask your player group if that's okay, because many players out there might not appreciate, if they shuffled up to play a game of Commander, and then before the game even starts, you just win. Before anyone does absolutely anything. And in fact, if you're playing a deck that utilizes, Thassa and Demonic Consultation, you might just want to ask about that one too. Regardless, make sure you comment below and let me know what other kinds of crazy turn 0 combos you can come up with. And with that, the show has come to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.